There he is.
Da da da
Mm.
da. Kellen,
GG's, well played all
Quendy
around.
True, first ever inaugural winner of the Mega Random Madness. How's it feel?
Feels pretty good, man. That was a fun little tournament. That was exciting.
Good. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. What were your thoughts or strategies going into all this with Mega Random?
Uh, mm, Given the randomness of it, I didn't really have a strategy.
Okay, that's fair. Kellen, so you lost your first game, all right, and then you ripped off winners ever since then. I guess the only one that was more successful in the games we watched was in the regular season was Harry Boy Sam. Um, I feel the first game that map was really like, wow, that's why we play Mega Random, right? Second map, I saw that I forget who Red was. I think it was Sunbreak or
Yeah.
Sunbreak, whatever. You had a gap into his base too. It was actually the only island that had 2 entry points, and I called it while you were actually making the Rams. And I think you went in there right with the first Rams. You went in there with like 9 Rams,
Yeah,
and I think that was the turning point of the whole game.
in the back of his base. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Zayu kind of sounded like he was struggling a little bit there. Um, I think if I'm thinking the right game.
Yes, he was. Zadi was.
It's when you were Mongols.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, Zayu was struggling. I felt like, okay, I need to do something a little creative. I could have sent those, all those units to the front, but I already had so many Mangadai in the front that I didn't feel like they were going to contribute much damage. So I just kind of rolled out some of them to the right, and then I saved up a bunch of Rams first, hit them there, kind of knocked down some castles and made their army kind of over on that side, which gave us a chance to push in front of Zayu, kind of get him off of Zayu. Yeah, it paid off, that worked really well for us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go Greek.
How about the matchup on the donut map where you were Lithuanian and you guys were going up against Sicilian Japanese? What the hell was going through your mind with that one? I thought you guys were going to be toast on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Right off the bat, you see the Sicilian just laying down so many of those, what are those called?
The donjons?
The donjons. And, you're thinking, like, do I really want to compete with that? Like, he's got a lot of donjons. You got the Japanese trebs shooting behind him. There's not really any way I could use trebs here. I can't really contest this. If I am going to contest it, it's going to take every bit of resource I got with Paladin and Lidus. So I felt like, okay, there really isn't much hope of holding this. I'm going to commit very lightly to it and just get off this island. And just pray that, like, I knew there wasn't much gold outside of the island. Like, that middle island had most of the big gold mines. So I was just kind of hoping that, okay, maybe on the outside I could get up trade and mine these little golds around the map as much as I can. And just run around with my Paladin Lidus. And at first, it paid off. I got some good fights. I held their right corner for a long time. And then eventually it turned into me slinging Keller because he needed to get ships up, and Mayans had pretty good ships. Managed to hold our little section until we got good trade, and they took way too long to get trade going. And by that point, I think I believe it was Frost who was the Sicilian there.
Yeah.
He was pretty burnt out in terms of how much stone he had committed to that first area, which was lucky for us because then he couldn't really build too many of those donjons around the map after that. He still built a good amount, but anyway, he maybe overcommitted slightly to where he built them at the beginning.
And I thought that was a great game. That was a great game to watch. I do think you threw Keller a live grenade when you jumped off, but I'm sure you guys worked it out in chat.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want you to think I'm not getting on you because obviously your strategy worked. I feel like you got relics early. I thought that was great. I understand and appreciate the move. I feel like I feel like you're methodical, and sometimes it's like nail biting almost, where it's like I feel like you could have made. I feel like you could have made more paladins earlier. I don't
I was
know.
sitting on a lot of resources. I wanted to stay flexible. I looked at that army that like between green and red, the Sicilian and Japanese, and I thought there's no way me like committing a lot of paladins right now will be effective. Just because like you're gonna have those Japanese halbs along with Sicilians. It's just too tough.
Yeah.
I wanted to float resources just in case one of my allies needed it, and we had like for example Korean on the left side of Sembridge, like that's absolutely a must for us to win for that Korean to get moving. And if he were to run out of steam, it would be over. So like I needed to keep that flexibility, and I felt that like Keller could hold his land somewhat, especially with using ships, because really the Mayans do have great ships. So
They got that ship right.
I turned in.
I did mention the ship, right?
Yeah, they got pretty much everything except for the bombard cannon.
Except for elite and gallon, yeah.
But yeah. So I felt like I was just gonna harass around the map while like keeping my allies afloat because we weren't gonna win on like inside the island on my end. Yeah, that was kind of my thought.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, I thought like later on in the game you were fighting in like the middle, then you were fighting on one side, and then the other two sides. Like I thought you were playing. At some point, it was like wow, because you were at +6, so you were rocking. It was just like,
There's
again,
just like you said, there was just nothing for him to send in the teeth of the
Polar.
Japanese and Sicilian. That was pretty cool though when you guys dropped the transport ships off and came in and cleaned up all that frost had in there. That was great.
Yeah, I was asking Polar if you notice that one little piece of land that Polar had
was key.
left. It was the key because it was the only location on that island that could shoot onto our trade.
Yes.
So I kept telling Polar, like, make sure you don't lose that. Like, let me know if you need resources. Let me know if you need help. And at some point, I see that he's starting to lose. I'm like, Polar, do you need my help? And Polar's like, yep, come on over.
Yeah.
So I started transporting on. And Polar did a phenomenal job. He was sort of like the secret sauce there. What ended up making us win is just holding on to that little section island that had our trade route behind it. Because if we had lost that, it was over.
That was a Ho Chi Minh Trail right there.
And with Sembridge just pounding him on the left side with a nice Korean long game push, like that was the thing we needed to get going to win, and he made it happen. So
Yeah, he bounced back big time. That's like he had nothing. He landed. I think you were patrolling one side of the shore. Keller was patrolling the other. They were very late to get on the other one because they were so successful with the inner donut charge. And then when they went back on, like Pocket never really got his footing, and Sembridge was just laid waste to that town.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Freaking Andy seemed like he was making a lot of
monks.
Yeah,
I kept thinking like if freaking Andy started committing some elephants on the right side, we might have been in trouble because we were really relying on like eagles, plumed archers on the right, and then some of my paladin, and all of that can lose to those Burmese elephants.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was going to commit to that with Japanese combined with him and some SOs from Sicilian would have been super deadly. We probably would have been losing the right side. But he had a big job, trying to hold out in the left against a Korean, so I don't really blame him.
So Kellen, which one was your favorite map of the randoms?
Favorite?
That's a good question. The game we were just talking about was pretty fun,
But I just think it was only because the game was fun. I think my favorite would probably be that one where it's like circled around a big hill in the middle.
Oh,
the reverse Socotra.
And you guys were like right on top of each other with your town centers too.
If I could take that map and modify it to where the trees around the edge are smaller, so that like basically the trees were so fat that you couldn't really make an effective trade route very easily. We ended up using siege onagers to shoot the trees like crazy in order to open it. But yeah, if it weren't for that one aspect of it, I liked everything else about that map. Really close, quick to the action. Yeah, I like that one the best, I think.
Okay.
So,
I feel.
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Go Greek.
So you got $150 coming your way, Kellen.
No, it should be in his way. It should be in his account
Oh, okay.
right now.
What,
If you want to check that and shoot me back.
What are you gonna do with the money? Take the lady out for a nice dinner?
Buy a new mouse?
I'm more likely to donate it to something else in DM. I might even donate it back to you, Greek, if you want to do another event with it or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's I like to keep the DM events coming. This kind of stuff is it's kind of driving the spice back into DM, and we need it to keep happening. Yeah, that's kind of my view on it. I don't really need the money, so yeah, I probably will donate it back to something to DM oriented.
Well, then you're gonna have to give us a good idea, because sometimes we come up with these ideas, but sometimes they sound good on paper. But the Rochambeau tournament was a no-fly, so you could give us the idea. If you want to give the funds back, you give the funds back, and then we could sit and try to decide another event.
My one thing that I would have changed in this event, I actually liked the full randomness, but it just could have been a little more random.
Even more?
You notice that, like, when you host a room, you have other options. Actually, I might be thinking of a movie aspect. Let me check it really quick.
Well, we did want Will to come to, help us and give us some ideas, but, if he doesn't want in, he doesn't want in. What could I say?
And so,
yeah, so if you notice, like, when you're picking your civilization, there's a random, but there's also full random.
Okay.
Full random can make it where civs overlap, so you might get 2 or more players as the same civilization.
Oh.
Okay.
I think that would have made it a little more spicy, rather than random, which makes it where one player gets a civ and all the others can't get that
is
one.
true.
Okay, so Greek, so maybe if Kellen sends the money back, we will do a more mega random tournament.
Mega random?
And then maybe we do land map. I don't know. Should we just stick with a mega land map, or do you want to keep it with these water maps?
Oh, I love the water map. I love the battles on water. Are you kidding me?
Well, there's the unexplored option, right?
Oh yeah, that
we
was
were
one
talking
thing
about.
too. So think about this, Kellen. We usually play on explored map. What if we said normal map reveal on these random maps? How crazy would that should be?
Yeah.
That might be injecting a little too much crazy. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things to be explored for settings that people haven't really thought of yet. Like, one thing we used to do in DM team games back in Voobly was doing captain's mode, where you had like a captain picking the civilization, pick and banning.
Yes.
It's like you start out, you both do a ban, both captains ban, and then you do like a pick a civ, and then the other team can't pick the ones you pick. So you're both doing picking and then banning again. That could be fun, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that might be. So maybe that might be something that we could do, because that's like a good for like a show match, right? Between like 2 teams, rather than get like a bunch of teams together. So
That's true.
That is definitely something to consider. We can do like a some sort of I don't know, qualifier or this or that for a show match. But for future events, I don't know what Tito Paca has planned. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to throw a tournament at the end of March or early April, so that's coming up." He's like, "And I want you and Tommy to host," and I'm like, "Of course we will, Paca. You're a boy."
How much would the prize be for that?
We're still waiting. Maybe it gets paid out in crypto. Maybe it gets paid out in
That's the only concerning thing. Yeah.
favors from his stable of girls that he runs down in. I guess we shouldn't reveal too much. We also have another. So here we might have another financer for another tournament coming up after that. So I think we have 2 people outside of Summon Electronics that might be posting some more events. And then Tommy's doing an excellent job getting these grants and fundraisers written for funding. So we definitely have more stuff coming up here down the pipeline. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we got DM World Cup coming, which we know is a $10,000 tournament.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out exactly who's going to be sort of hosting it and everything. But that should be happening in either August or September. That's a big one to look forward to.
Yeah, we're not gonna compete with that. Like, we'll do some of those games. It's just our whole thing is
we're not going to do the Rochambeau tournament in August.
Yeah, we like our whole thing. Our sweet spot is 3 to 4 hour games. We put the time aside. I feel like that's fun. The people playing it fun, people watching it's fun. We just like immediate victories of this person won. You know what I mean?
Well, and we also want these to be a build up to the World Cup too, because one of the events that we want to have, we still got to since Rect and Calendar both in here with us right now, we got to work out the timing on this Quenty versus Suno show match to get some fundraising. We were doing a hype video for it, and we already had people like subscribe and donate to get money to it. So if anybody subscribes, that money is going to go towards the World Cup prize pool. And if anybody donates money to GreekTV, that's all going to the Deathmatch World Cup prize pool as well. So a couple of things to keep in mind there.
That would be awesome. Some other suggestions maybe for your other events is giving you guys, in particular Tommy, Greeks, more power over what is played. So, for example, what if you guys are the ones picking our civs? Or
oh
God, do you really want that?
Make it a competition between you two. Where say Tommy's picking my team's civs and Greek's picking the other team's civs.
I love that idea.
I like that.
That kind of thing. You guys could think of a lot of creative ideas like that.
We could just, Tommy, me and you could just draft our teams and tell them what civs to play. Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Well, I will say this, and that's very interesting when you do something globally around the world, and you go 16 for 16 for people showing up. That's pretty amazing. Like, kudos to everyone for showing up and being committed. You know what I mean?
We only had 15 people until about 4 hours before the event started. So
right.
Even more impressive.
Yeah, so we knew worst case scenario, Rec was going to get in there. We know he was going to get in there.
Worst case scenario.
No, worst case scenario, me and you were going to get in there.
It was.
Yeah, I would have casted you being in there, Tommy. What are you talking about?
Doing something interesting like that could be fun. I think it'd keep YouTube more into it also. Like how the games are going, might be more exciting from the caster's standpoint. Might increase some kind of trend with that.
Yeah, believe it or not, it is kind of fun. When you're doing with different, especially 4v4s, because you got a lot to do. You got to look around, and you want to say, "Oh, this," it's like weird. It's like Greek's looking at one thing, he's looking at you and Zayu fight, Sandbridge, and I forget who's the Indian Civ, and then I'm watching Harry Boy, and I'm watching Harry Boy and Leash go at it. And so there's a lot going on, and as you're looking at the tallies and keeping track with Hydra, it's fun. It's very much like you're like there. They were very exciting games. I thought the donut game actually was kind of like a perfect 4v4, and poor freaking Andy, he asked me if it was a single game elimination. And so, it's starting to look like maybe there's a curse over there for him where, like single game is just too tough. Who knows? No, and I that's the way I like it, though. Like, you guys beat Viper Nilly, and it's like, okay, I feel you won the whole thing. No, but it's like, no, there's more. We got to wait for a loser's bracket and then a match of some. I'm not a big fan of it. I watch it, but it's not. It makes the games not as fun to watch because it's not. That's all.
One other issue too is I think Leash will be leaving sometime in the not too long future, so. I'm hoping that we'll be able to line up our games against whoever ends up winning the loser bracket soon. But if that's not the case, it'll probably be just Brew and I playing the finals.
All right, Brew, you hear that? You better get your shit together out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Brew's a great player. It's just a big loss also having Leash not there. Leash is a great player.
Leash played like a monster against Viper and Illy. That was great.
Yeah. So hopefully that works out. But yeah, looking forward to the end of that tournament. Also looking forward to whatever you guys end up doing. You know, I feel like a lot of DMers were really pumped going into like DM ranked lobbies coming in this tournament. Now that a lot of people got knocked out, you've seen like it die down a little bit in here, but I think it's now coming back again. You know, watching your stream today, Greek, I think you were up past 60 viewers at one point, which is pretty good. We did.
So AR12 had somebody that was rooting for him that had like 70 people in the stream, and they rated me. So we actually had about like 90 at one point.
That's good, man. Like,
yeah, it's awesome.
You know, DMers haven't had anyone streaming, and it always takes a long time for streamers to get going with viewers, but you're already getting up there, so that's really good. You know, it's for a very short amount of time, we're already getting decent viewers. It's probably only going to go up from here.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Well, we're trying to catch Nelly. Nelly had about 7,500 people watching his stream. So maybe we could bring him in on a tournament, and then he could like raid us, just so we could get people like filled in on these things of these tournaments, just so they could start watching. That would be great.
He also had, you know, $100,000 prize pool. So.
All right, Tommy, time to step your game up.
With free flights to Germany for all the top 8 and all that stuff, so naturally, it's a little bit hard for you guys to compete with. I don't know like the you know the bottom line of Summit Electronics balance sheet, but
it's not quite the same as Red Bull.
Yeah. I understand that, but if getting him and Viper in like a mega random tournament like that would just generate more interest of people watching.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I do feel like mega random does prevent someone just dying to a scout randomly, but that's neither here nor there.
I like that it gives a lot of DMers a chance of moving, you know, beyond just getting eliminated in the first round. That's one of the big downsides to the majority of these streamlined big tournaments is you got all the, you know, lower rated players who feel like they don't have a chance. At least in these tournaments, they have a decent shot, which is fun.
Well, my whole guess with the whole doing like, hey, let's get as many games as we can in a certain amount of time is that like one, it solves the problem if you get to play a bunch, and then two, it makes the games go quicker because it's just like, all right, if I drag this off, I'm not gonna have as many chances to win. So like it gets puts a little urgency to like actually get in and out of games.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it would have been interesting to do instead of having it where like you take the top 4 from each group, you just take the top 8 overall.
Yeah,
but the only problem with that was
like 8 games.
Yeah. None of you guys in Group A would have made it.
Yeah, that's the point, though. If we had known that was a possibility, we would have been resigning much faster, or it would have forced our group to play games much quicker.
Yeah, that is true.
We didn't have that pressure, so we never even considered that.
That would have been cool because I would have liked to have seen like Slick Rick was. He won 3, and kudos for him for stepping up to the game.
Yeah.
He won 3. That would have gotten him in, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, either way, it was fun to watch. Some of the maps I think were really interesting. I don't know if Frost 9 is still out there. I feel like he left. I thought the teams were very, very even at the end.
Yeah, surprisingly even. Well, there was a lot of good games. I think there was one game where it was like for our group, like us 3 Quendies, Keller, Leash, and I were all on one team, and we were like, oh yeah, easy. And then I think that was the one we lost.
You guys ended up winning that one. You guys, they were pushing back on you hard. That was the one with the hill in the middle.
It was funny.
You guys definitely almost lost that one because you had such a good jump to begin with, and then they just had Korean and Britain, and it was just they started snowballing a little bit. But you guys were able to get out on the outside of them and start getting into their trade.
Poor Leash to have he led in kills every game.
Every game he led in kills, and he had 1 win.
You know.
Yeah, it's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
You know, like that game where he was Persians across from me as students, it was so bottlenecked, and he was doing a great job using the elite cannon galleons along with bombard cannons. It was like hard as to push that, and his elephants were most of the time just idle.
Yeah.
If he had just sent that elephant army around the map and hit the other side with it, that
I don't
would've
think
been-
so. I think it was lost already before.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I think Harry Boy just rope-a-dope Tweppy. I mean, Tweppy like went up there. He lost his siege. I guess he thought that Harry Boy was just gonna sit there behind towers, and then he just came down and pummeled him.
No, well, I do think those elephants could have been used a little bit. I mean, he ended the game with a bunch of elephants still.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, they could have been used pretty useful or utilized well somewhere else on the map. I had a bunch of monks too, so it's not like they were super helpful across from me.
Yeah. But
Helpful to me.
But you guys were never. He was never able to get going just because the way the other side went. Because I was expecting him and Keller to work with the rattan archers from the Vietnamese and really get a good push, but you know, that's not how the cookie crumbled that game. The other side crumbled instead.
No, it was a really fun tournament. Every game there was a lot of really interesting games. Those maps caught me off guard. You know, there's a lot of that like feeling of I don't know what to do on this map. But at the same time, you have to like come up with some strategy in your mind. It could be hard to do, especially if your player is not used to competing. So yeah, it was really fun. I hope we do something like that, similar to that again.
Good.
Well, it's all on Paca. We'll put the screws to Paca soon. So. All right. Well,
we're
listen,
gonna go ahead.
I gotta drop out.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid our boy Legion of Loom right now. He has a stream right now called Beers and Berbers, which is like two of my favorite things. So we're gonna send everybody over there. Thank you everybody for tuning in and all the participants. Congratulations again to True for winning it. Polar getting second place, and Keller and Cambridge coming in the runner-up spots at third and fourth. Everybody, it is Greek TV. Again, special thanks to our boy Rec for stepping up and helping out with all the admin duties and setting up a stream on the fly to get the other group of games going. So good shit, Rec. And also to our sponsors, Summon Electronics, for putting up the money and getting Greek TV going again. So this has been fun, everybody. Stay tuned for more events from Greek TV. And until next time.
Until next time. Thanks again, guys.
All right. GG's, guys. Thanks.
Whew.